Hey guys, it's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel. Whether you are brand new or you are a returning viewer today, thank you so much either way for stopping by for yet again another speed build. So if you guys watched last week's video, then you know that I went on a trip. At the end of every video, I'll have like a blooper or some kind of little sidebar or something like that. But at the end of last week's video, I mentioned that I was coming back from a trip to Ohio. I had never been to Ohio before. I think that is probably the furthest state, like toward the east, that I've ever been to in the United States. I do live in California, so I'm extremely, I'm on the West Coast, okay? I'm so far from Ohio. And I'm obsessed with bungalow homes, and I didn't know that that's like pretty much all that's in Ohio. Like, of course, there's other kinds of houses. There's farmhouses, there's ranch style houses, it's all over the board. But the main houses out there are bungalow homes. And when we first landed, we were driving around, like we got a rental car and we were driving, we landed in Cleveland, ton of bungalow homes. And I was like, okay, it makes sense. It's like the city. Like, I feel like bigger cities, especially more like a Midwest, East Coast, kind of have bungalow homes. I feel like that's just like the typical style. And here in California, that's not so much the case. Like maybe a little bit in Berkeley and Oakland, and I don't know. I'm in the Bay Area, so I feel like it's not so much. But I feel like this is like a huge like Midwest thing or like East Coast thing. I've heard Ohio being both. I don't know. You guys let me know. Either way, I saw so many bungalow homes. Even after we left Cleveland, I saw bungalow homes everywhere. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just the parts of Ohio we're in. And then we were out there like visiting a family member, and I was asking her about it. And she's like, no, this is like literally like all Ohio pretty much. And I was like, oh my God, I need to move to Ohio so I can get a cheap bungalow home. Just kidding. I actually don't know if I could live in Ohio unless like all of my family and friends moved with me. It's probably never going to happen, but either way, that's kind of what inspired me to make this build. And I've never done an orange house before, so I figured, let's do it. Let's do a full send. Let's do an orange house. Let's do this cute little bungalow. And I did. And I think I did well. And I should also mention it is a limited pack build. So I have my notes, but I left my phone charging out of the room from me. So, okay. So we've obviously got base game. We've got cats and dogs, eco lifestyle, cottage living, laundry day, and kits. But I'm pretty sure the only kit I used was the country kitchen kit. So I just love a good cluttered kitchen. So we had to do it. This build does end up having a pretty big kitchen, and kind of like the layout of it is a lot different than one I've done before. It has like an attached, we would more so call it a breakfast nook, because I feel like a dining room is essentially its own room, and it usually seats quite a few people, like typically more than the amount of Sims that would be living at your home. It's probably not the actual definition of it, but that's kind of how I picture it. And a lot of the times, if in any of my builds I mention, oh, there's a dining room, it's usually like kind of a separate room, you know? But here you can kind of tell we're starting to put together the floor plan. I do change it up, I think a little bit from here. I end up getting rid of the walls, which you just saw. There is a half bath downstairs, and there's one small bedroom upstairs, and then like a pretty decent sized bathroom upstairs. So I figured kind of for this build, it would be really cute to just make this a grandma's house, because I end up using lots of cottage living, of course, and lots of cats and dogs. So I feel like those aesthetics, especially when you combine them, they are very elderly Sim-esque, but in the most endearing way possible. I think that the houses and just like all of the cottage living pack and even the cats and dogs pack items are so cute. Especially, like I said, when you combine them, they look really good together. So I was really happy to be able to do this, and I was really impressed with how quickly I put together the floor plan. So as you can see, I did leave it in the build. I don't always do that because my struggle with builds are the floor plans. because I just think too literally. I'm just like, I wouldn't want to like walk into a house and instantly be in the in the kitchen, or I wouldn't want to be in the dining room. Like, to me, that just doesn't make sense. And the only time I'll really ever probably rationalize something like that is if I'm doing like a tiny home or a small home build, something along those lines where it's some sort of challenge is in play. So for here, I didn't want to do that. So I was, again, very happy with the way the floor plan turned out. But we're pretty much starting to furnish the kitchen, and I recently got inspired specifically for a large kitchen and kind of what I go for here from a YouTuber that oh my gosh, she's an amazing builder. So her YouTube name, or her YouTube channel, what am I trying to say? Her username, and I'm pretty sure on the gallery and I think on Instagram as well, her name is Sunny Simsy. So Sunny, Sunny, and then Simsy, like Lil Simsy, Simsie. So Sunny Simsy, oh my gosh, her builds, you guys, are incredible. She is just so talented. I'm obsessed with her videos. I think she uses reshade, so it just makes the videos that much more just appealing and just, oh my gosh, aesthetically pleasing. It's just amazing. I love her builds. So shout out to Sunny Simsy. She's probably not watching this, but like, if she was, that would be so cool. And like, I love your builds. They're amazing. Your screenshots, I'm obsessed with them. Anyway, huge inspiration for this kitchen. So I'm pretty sure it was one of her more recent builds. She made like a canning cottage. Like, she did a cottage build in Henford-on-Bagley, and it was for, I think, an older couple. So like grandparents, and they are, well, at least the grandma, she said, I think in her storyline, was like really into canning. So she put all sorts of canning stuff and like cottage living stuff in the kitchen, and the kitchen was just gorgeous. So my kitchen doesn't at all look like hers. It's a very different kind of kitchen. In my opinion, I could be kind of wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this is more of like a galley kitchen. I think galley kitchens is when you like, it's almost like a hallway sort of room where you've got cabinets and countertops on either side of you as you're walking down a more like narrow kitchen. But that is kind of what this is like. I mean, there's not cabinets on both sides of the kitchen if you were to be walking down it that way, but like, I think the shape of it kind of makes it a galley kitchen. I could be completely wrong even with what a galley kitchen is, but I had a coworker that was like redoing her house, and that's what their kitchen was looking like, and she explained it to me. So I'm just kind of letting you guys know what I know. But hey, what are we even talking about now? So, okay, we're pretty much finishing up the kitchen-ish. Well, actually, I go back and clutter it up quite a bit. But anyway, we were talking about canning. So I end up placing another small table over by the stove, and I place an, I guess, unclipped chair there, just kind of for aesthetic purposes. But I just figured it would be a great place for the grandmother that lives here, or just the elder sim that lives here, to kind of clutter up this area with all of her canning utensils and her jars and all of her preserves and things like that. I just thought it would be really cute. I tend to do that sometimes in my builds if I don't have enough room, or I feel like making an actual island out of countertops would be too in the way, or kind of like essentially too bulky. Maybe it's going to make the kitchen look a bit too small. I try to incorporate, either some kind of like console table, or, an actual dining table or a kitchen table in there instead. So I did that here. I think it looks really good. I would have used potentially a different table if I had a little bit more space. Like the first table that I used, that I'm pretty sure was from Cats and Dogs, I would have loved to use that, but I felt like it was a little bit too crowded in that area, especially if you were to walk through this walkway right here that's closer to the stove. I felt like it would just be like, I don't know, too in the way. And of course, in real life, it wouldn't actually be that way, I don't think. But I don't know. I like the way it looks with the small table. It does make the table look a bit more cluttered, which is what I was going for anyway, so it only makes sense to do that. But we finished cluttering up the kitchen. There was lots of clutter, I'm sure, as you could see. But luckily it is a limited pack build, so as long as you have all of these packs, especially the country kitchen kit, then a lot of these items will be here for you. And of course cottage living too, because I used a lot of that. But now we're kind of just jumping into the laundry room. I almost said living room. The laundry room really quick. And I think I did a pretty good job cluttering it up. It's not too crazy. Still very functional. There's still lots of space where ideally your sim could fold clothes on the countertop here if they had to, but that's pretty much it. It's kind of basic laundry clutter. Also, I'm sorry if you can hear my husband in the background. I usually do these voiceovers when no one's home, especially him, because we share a room. And so I love to do my voiceovers in the closet, and it's because there's just plenty of things in here so things don't echo too much. And there's lots of like stuff in our room too, but I don't know. I feel like this room specifically just calls for the best audio. And of course he's home today, and if I were to have started this voiceover way earlier when he was actually playing video games where he's just playing by himself and he doesn't need to talk to other people, would have been more ideal, but I was just still editing my video, so bear with me. If you hear him in the background, he has a very booming voice, so hopefully he doesn't come through too much, but he knows I'm in here, so he knows to be a little bit more quiet than usual, so just bear with me. This isn't going to be an all the time thing, it's just like a today thing. But we're now jumping out into the living room. I end up placing this little tiny TV from Eco Lifestyle here. I just figured that this sim is going to have so many other things to do, other responsibilities like canning. I end up placing a chicken coop out in the backyard because of course cottage living, and I do end up placing some oversized crop patches back in the backyard as well. I don't actually place any crops there for you guys. Sometimes I often tend to do that when I upload a build to the gallery. A lot of the times you will find that my planter boxes or garden patches already have pre-planted plants in them, or crops, whatever you want to call it, or whatever you go for planting, but I typically will have things already planted there, but this time I did not because I just didn't get around to it. I just kind of wanted to finish the build, play test, take screenshots, edit, and pump this video out pretty much. But since we're just kind of cluttering up a little bit here, I figured I could just maybe kind of go into a little bit more detail of who I imagined living at this house. So originally, I thought it would be a really cute idea for an older couple to live here, and I still think that's ideally who I would move in here, especially if I were to like actually play in this build a lot. I would make it be a set of grandparents that have maybe, you know, a grandchild or a few grandchildren, because I do end up placing some monkey bars out in the backyard. So there is a little, like, there's one activity-ish that your like child sims can do. And of course with the chicken coop and stuff, they can play with the chickens, they can help bake or cook, whatever. But I just figured it would be an older couple that maybe say they moved from Hempford on Bagley, so they're still very much into this cottage aesthetic. They're into cottage living activities like gardening, especially the oversized crops. They brought their chickens with them. I just thought that would be kind of a cute idea, that they still very much embrace where they're from, and now they're living here in Evergreen Harbor. And I wished that I would have used more eco lifestyle items. Now that I think about it, I wonder how many I actually used here. I think I used 2 composting bins, and I actually really don't know. But the main reason I had used eco lifestyle in the first place was because I was building an Evergreen Harbor, and I'm pretty sure I was kind of under the impression a little bit more that I was going to do more with those items, but I didn't. Oh, and I do place the juice fizzing machine, so that's definitely a bigger item, of course, but I do end up placing that out in like this little shed that I think I haven't built it yet. I do end up placing a shed because I do end up moving this entire build to a different lot in Evergreen Harbor. But I don't know, I just figured, especially with the whole outside inspiration of the house, where I was saying like it reminded me a lot of the houses I saw in Ohio. I thought that parts of Ohio that we were in were very much like Evergreen Harbor. To me, it almost almost reminds me of like maybe parts of Cleveland, and to me personally it kind of reminds me a little bit of Oakland, which like I mentioned to you guys earlier, I am from the Bay Area, so that's definitely, I see Oakland way more than I see Cleveland. That was the first time I've ever been to Cleveland, so that was kind of what I was going for there. But of course, if you don't have eco lifestyle, you can place this lot anywhere else in the game. This lot is a little bit different though, the way it's shaped. I forget the size lot that this is, of course, but it is more wide. So say it was like a 30 by 20, it's like the 30 long and then 20 deep, if that makes sense, like 20 going upstage. That's like the only way I could think of it because I used to be a dancer. But anyway, here is where we're placing the shed. So that's where I end up placing the juice fizzing machine. So what I'm trying to get at is if you don't have the eco lifestyle pack, it's honestly not the end of the world. I'm pretty sure I don't use that many items from the eco lifestyle pack, which I wish I would have thought about before including this in like the build, but I mean, whatever. I feel like a lot of you guys have a lot of packs. You don't have all the packs, but I feel like a lot of people have a lot of different packs, especially the more new ones. I feel like that have lots of different like kind of perks to them. Like eco lifestyle comes with a lot of new things that really change up your gameplay, like with the eco footprint and voting and all that stuff. Like I feel like those are really big points that kind of make people interested in buying packs, especially expansion packs, because of course we all know that those are the most expensive packs. So I feel like, you know, it needs to be very appealing. Oh my God, I really hope you can't hear my husband too much because I can hear him so much right now. But either way, we're just starting to, I was going to say clutter. I mean, this is essentially a type of clutter, but we're starting the landscaping just in the debug menu. I'm pretty sure I used just some normal plants and trees, not from the debug menu, because after I go through the debug menu so many times in a build, I get a little sick of it and I'm just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. But at least I've already made the build a little bit cheaper with all of the plants and stuff. I'm pretty sure I've said it before. I feel like plants should be free, but also like you can't go into Home Depot and just steal all the plants, you know, you got to pay for them. So I guess it kind of makes sense. But I end up placing an orange truck here, and I figured it goes really well with the whole orange exterior of the house. Maybe the grandmother or grandparents that live here are really into orange. It's their favorite color. I'm not really sure. But I know that when I was starting to tell you guys a little bit about the person or the couple that I imagined living here, I got a little distracted or something, or sidetracked. I don't know. I went off on a tangent, probably, knowing me. But basically, I wanted it to originally be like an older couple that lives here, like they're a set of grandparents to someone that lives in Evergreen Harbor or somewhere else. Honestly, doesn't matter. I just definitely imagined that this house would be perfect for an elderly couple. But then after I had put together the bedroom, it's really more functional for a single sim. So then in my mind, I was like, well, maybe the grandmother lives here and like her husband just recently died or something. Like, I know that sounds so morbid, but it's like, I mean, it's the circle of life. It happens in The Sims too. It happens all of the time. So I don't know. I just figured that, yeah, maybe this grandma, she moved here from Henford-on-Bagley with her husband, and he recently passed because, I mean, the shed is pretty much dedicated to him, I feel like. I mean, there's no saying that she can't be into woodworking and juice fizzing and stuff, but I just imagined that that's where he would spend a lot of his time, like woodworking and using his juice fizzing machine, you know, making seltzers and juices, and there's something else that they're called, and no, it's literally just juice and seltzer, isn't it? And I don't know, it's been a while. I used to play with the Eco Lifestyle Pack a ton, especially like in Evergreen Harbor. I was trying to get the neighborhoods all like nice and in like the green eco footprint and all that. So a lot of, well, actually this entire neighborhood is looking very green, which I love. I don't like the idea of all the trash laying around because personally in real life it grosses me out and I don't like it. So I wish I would have been able to find a way to cheat the system and actually change all of the surrounding houses, like the neighborhood and stuff. I'm almost certain there's a cheat for it, but I couldn't freaking find it. And I really did not want to go through, you know, the almost 2-hour live stream from back when the Eco Lifestyle Pack was released. So I was like, whatever, we'll just try not to like look at the surrounding houses too much, because to be quite honest, this house does not belong in this neighborhood. But if it was back when it was like industrial or even like neutral, it would have fit in a little bit more. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. But now we're just adding some of those garden patches that I mentioned earlier. I do end up moving them over to where the chicken coop is. So basically the chicken coop and the patches just swap spots, because it, like, as I was building it, I was like, why am I building this like in the middle? Like, this looks so dumb. This should be off in the corner on its own. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of dumb the way I set it up. But yeah, I just thought it would be nice to make it seem like very much so that this grandmother was, you know, maybe she was born and raised in Henford-on-Bagley, and she kind of semi-recently moved to Evergreen Harbor with her husband, and then to be morbid again, he passed away. So she ends up keeping the shed as is. You know, this was a lot of like what he liked to do. He loved woodworking and fizzing juices with all of the things that she was growing in the garden. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be nice. And then maybe she ends up taking over juicing and really enjoys it. And it's a nice little pastime for her to like remember her husband by. I don't know, but I just thought it would be nice for her to be able to bring, you know, the Henford-on-Bagley charm and the very cottage living-esque lifestyle to Evergreen Harbor, and to be able to, like, I don't know, pass the aesthetic down to her grandkids or something. But either way, we're coming up on the screenshots. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's build. I know I rambled a bit. I was honestly trying to cover up my husband talking really loud, so I just started saying things like just word vomiting. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to follow me over on Instagram and follow me over on the EA gallery so you can download some of my builds. I'll have everything linked down below, and I hope to see you guys in a future build. Bye.
past me as I'm self-resing, like realizes I'm self-resing behind him, turns around and kills me, and Ryan's still just like laying on the ground staring at the wall.
That's great. Hey, did you guys actually think I was having a conversation with him? Because I wasn't. He's just being very loud. He just has a really loud voice, and this mic is actually like pretty high quality, so it actually picks things up. Like, why am I mad about it?